Oil prices are greatly impacted by what Jim Cramer said. Shale oil prices are getting nailed as if they weren't getting hit hard enough. And the other day I said the nail in the coffin. Well, here's another one. Okay. And let's hear what Jim Cramer has to say about oil. Democrats are cheering about what he said, but let's hear what he has to say and I'll respond.
I'm done with fossil fuels. They're done. Yeah, they're just done. We're starting to see divestment all over the world. We're starting to see the companies just regard them as, big pension funds saying, listen, we're not going to own them anymore. It doesn't matter.
Do you think that's the biggest thing holding these guys back and not necessarily just oil production here in the United States?
Absolutely. I think it is. You could say, listen, China, obviously swing market. Smart. No, the world's changed. There's new managers.
So Jim Cramer said that everybody's divesting, pension funds are losing their butts in the stock market and oil. But bottom line, the reason why this is happening is because shale oil is very expensive to extract. And so when you invest in stock, you're investing in a majority of shale. Why? Because the majors, that was their focus. They back in 2005, all the majors went offshore to develop oil and gas properties. Well, shale was such an easily accessible opportunity because it was a resource play. I mean, you could throw a rock and hit 10 opportunities to develop in shale, but the problem is it was expensive to develop. And so all the majors, where are you going to spend $10 billion? Well, shale, there's enough room for that. Conventional, there's not enough room for $10 billion growth. You can't. There's not enough room for that. And so shale, for instance, in Permian Basin is 300 miles wide, plenty of room to grow, plenty of room to develop. But the problem is at $50-something a barrel, shale is not profitable. I mean, when it costs $50, $60, $70 a barrel to extract a barrel of oil from shale, you're not going to make any money. And of course, they're losing their butts. And I've been saying this for years. So bottom line, oil is still profitable, but shale isn't. And Jim Cramer is divesting from fossil fuels. But what he's really saying, I'm divesting from companies that invest in shale. Where are you going to invest in the stock market that isn't a part of shale? You can't. Okay. And so on the conventional side of things, the oil prices are profitable at $50 a barrel. Okay. Today they're at $52 a barrel. In 2005, which was the first time we hit $50 oil, we were chest bumping each other in our office. We're high-fiving each other because we never seen these prices. We were excited. What has changed? Why was it profitable in 2005 at $50-something a barrel and not profitable in 2020 at $50-something a barrel? I'll tell you why. It's because of shale. Shale has stolen the spotlight, and they're not profitable at these prices, but conventional still is. Nothing has changed. It's just as much profitable as it was in 2005 as it is today. Why? Because we're not drilling a well for $15 million. We're drilling for $700,000. Conventional is still where it's at, but the problem is Chevron, British Petroleum, Texaco, all the major oil and gas companies there's not enough room for conventional oil. I mean, are they going to go out and drill a $700,000 well and only have enough room to drill $7 million worth of wells in one area? That it would take the manpower alone to do that, to spend $10 million to go find that much oil, which you're probably not going to find it, is near impossible. So it creates an amazing opportunity for guys like me that are going out and getting these smaller leases and drilling wells for $700,000. Lease acquisition costs are lower, drilling costs are lower, so our profits are gone up higher. And so he just put another nail in the coffin for the shale industry. Divestment is rapidly increasing. Everybody's jumping ship. And so what happens? That oil glut of shale oil is going to drop, and supply is going to lessen, and demand will still be there. And what's going to happen? Oil's going to go back up again, and we're going to be back to the 2007, 2008, 2012, 13, 14 prices again, because And nobody's going to make that same mistake with shale. We had round one in the Bakken Shale. We had round two in the Permian Basin from 2012 to 2016. And now people are saying, you know what, round three, I don't think so. We lost twice. We're not going to lose a third time. Okay. And let's go and listen in on another portion of this video.
There's new managers. They don't want to hear whether these are good or bad. Look at BP. It's a solid yield, very good. Look at Chevron buying back $5 billion worth of stock. Nobody cares. And this has to do with new kinds of money managers who, frankly, just want to appease younger people who believe that you can't ever make a fossil fuel company sustainable. That's why I said Mike Wirth's trying everything he can. But in the end, they make fossil fuels. And that's going to be, we're in the death knell phase.
He mentioned that we have new managers, and they're appeasing the younger crowd because the younger crowd does not want to invest in fossil fuels. Why? Because the media, the Democrats, you could thank Hillary Clinton and Obama for this, has painted a picture that oil is evil. In fact, they're comparing oil to the nicotine industry. Remember the loss of money in cigarettes? I mean, now they're comparing the two. And so you got the Democratic race is roaring right now. They're getting a lot of public attention right now. They're getting a lot of news media attention. And they, if you watch any of their debates, which are very boring, they focus on global warming. They focus on negative fossil fuels. They attack fossil fuels. They attack big oil. Kamala Harris just the other day put out a Twitter post about big oil. They're still using terms like big oil, but they're more interested. Those are talking points that appeases their base. And half the country is pro global warming, and they're anti-oil, and they're pro Tesla. Okay, but you can't replace all the gas powered cars overnight. There's just not enough money there. Our grid can't handle it. But bottom line, it's cool to own Tesla, but it's not cool to own Chevron anymore. That's the way it is. But, I'm not worried about it because I'm not a stock guy. I'm an oil guy. The truth is that oil was meant to be in the ground. It was never meant to be on the stock market. But let's listen to finish what he's saying here.
I know that's very
death knell phase for the stocks, but not for the death knell phase for us using fossil fuels, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that the issue is sustainability. Look, this is the other side of Tesla. These stocks don't want to be owned by younger people. Their dividends are great. These companies are doing better than, obviously, when oil was at, even 4 years ago, when oil was at 26, 27. But you can tell that the world's turned on them. And it's actually kind of happening very quickly. You're seeing divestiture by a lot of different funds. It's going to be a parade. It's going to be a parade that says, look, these are tobacco, and we're not going to own them.
Wow. That's
So this is a very exciting time for oil because, he said it's going to be a parade. It's like tobacco. And the mass youngsters that are supporting people like Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, the guys, Mrs. Warren, the ones that are supporting them are agreeing with their anti-oil agenda. And oil is evil, okay? And so this is causing people to invest more in green tech versus oil. It's affecting Chevron tremendously. And so the beauty of this thing is that it makes it easier for me to do lease acquisition, to develop oil and gas fields at a cheaper price. And so the OPEC is loving this, by the way, because shale has been a thorn in OPEC's side because they used to be able to cut back on oil output and oil prices would skyrocket. They'd drop a bomb in the right place, oil prices would skyrocket. Iran's upset because the bombs that they're dropping isn't greatly increasing and affecting and impacting energy. In the past, they would cut us off from oil and we'd have to roll in our tanks and oil prices would go up with that. Well, we don't have to anymore because we're pumping so much oil. But now that's not going to happen anymore. The industry is changing. The Democrats are winning this battle against oil. They're winning. people aren't investing into it anymore. But it's good for me. It's good for my investors in the conventional side of things. If you're just drilling a well for $700,000 and you pump 50 barrels a day, 100% tax write-off, that's a huge upside. And our profits only go up with less people dumping their money in shale, causing an oil glut. So in today's news, OPEC reportedly considering large production cuts as coronavirus prompts crude collapse. Okay, so they're going to do, OPEC is going to do whatever it takes to keep oil prices from plunging. So the good news is about that conventional oil. As long as OPEC will do whatever it takes to keep oil prices from collapsing, conventional oil is very profitable, because the first time we hit $50 oil was back in 2005. And it's still profitable today. Turkey launches deadly airstrikes against Syrian forces. That's today's news. So the Middle East is continuing to increase in warfare. I mean, it's continuing to be destabilized, and things are only going to continue to get worse. And of course, wars in the Middle East cause oil prices to continue to go up. But right now, all of this, everything that's going on in Iran and Saudi Arabia and Syria and Turkey, and everything that OPEC is doing, all it's doing is offsetting the glut. Oil prices really should be around $30, $40 a barrel, but because of the wars and because of what OPEC is doing, it's keeping it at around $50-something a barrel. But if shale goes away, which the way it was in 2007, 2008, oil prices went up to $140, $150 a barrel, and all they had to do is just shut off the spigot for a little bit. But now shale is causing an oil glut, and so now OPEC doesn't have as much control. That's why they're excited about oil prices, declining in a massive way because of all the divestment in oil. So in the next few months, we're going to see oil wane tremendously, and oil prices are going to go up with it. The Democrats are playing into the hands of OPEC. They're playing into the hands of Russia. Russia, 60% of their GDP is oil. Iran and then Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East, 90% of their GDP is oil. They are playing into the hands of these other countries. Tesla cannot save us. The oil supplies 80% of the world's energy. I want to remind you guys, the other day, Chevron swings to $6.6 billion loss after huge shale gas write-off. Guys, the shale industry is falling apart. Jim Cramer is right. He's smart to jump out of oil, because the stocks are only going to get worse. And the news media is focused on an anti-oil agenda, and you're going to see even more divestment for good reason. They had 2 rounds of shale from 2012 to 2020, and they're done. They are done. They're not going to invest in shale anymore. It's game over for the stock market for oil, because they're focused on shale. And what is going to happen? You're going to have less oil on the market. And guys like us that have been doing it the same way since the early 2000s is going to win. I'm Sean Pruitt, president of Kingdom Exploration. Call me anytime. I'd love to chat with you about oil and gas. 307-6221-OIL. If you like my videos, please click on the subscribe video. If you'd like to learn more about our current projects, please click on the link in the description and fill out the form. I would love to chat with you. Thanks.